You ever imagine your kid could literally die at 30,000 feet because a flight attendant thought his medicine looked suspicious just because he's black? Yeah, that happened to 12-year-old Jamal Harris. His dad, Dr. Marcus Harris, a top neurosurgeon, stood there stunned, voice shaking with controlled rage, and said something that silenced everyone on that plane. My son could die because you decided his medication looked suspicious on a black child. Let me back up a sec and tell you how this nightmare started, and trust me, you're going to want to hear the whole thing. It began the day before, in their cozy Chicago suburb. Jamal's mom, Tara, called up the stairs. Jamal, did you pack your backup inhaler? Jamal, already fascinated by science, and particularly respiratory medicine, probably because of his severe asthma, answered carefully, zipping his backpack closed. Yeah, Mom, it's right here with the spacer. Marcus came downstairs in his tailor navy suit, ready to fly to Boston for a prestigious award ceremony, recognizing his breakthrough neural research. The whole family was going. Tara, Jamal, his little sister Lily, who was spinning around excited in her new dress. Big day, and nerves were high. But beneath the smiles, Marcus and Tara both knew their skin color meant extra eyes, watching them every step of the way. Did you pack extra batteries for your nebulizer? Marcus checked. Jamal nodded, pulling his suitcase to the door. Asthma had been flaring up lately, and they always had backup plans. Good thinking, son. And you've got your doctor's note, right? Jamal pulled out the laminated letter like a pro traveler. Tara double-checked passports, boarding passes, medical certificates, lawyer instincts kicking in, making sure everything was bulletproof. On the way to O'Hare, Lily chatted nonstop about Boston and seeing the Atlantic for the first time, while Jamal was quieter, occasionally using his inhaler as anxiety ticked up. Remember, Marcus said quietly as they pulled into the airport, keep your inhaler where you can get it, but try not to use it in front of people unless you have to. Jamal nodded solemnly, the unspoken code of managing his condition and the extra burden his blackness placed on everything, even medicine. The airport buzzed with travelers, their first-class tickets in hand, but they had to ask twice for the priority line. At security, Jamal's medical bag got picked apart, every item examined, every piece scrutinized, while white families with similar gear breezed through. The TSA agent eyed Jamal's nebulizer suspiciously. What's this for? Marcus explained calmly. It's for his asthma. He needs breathing treatments. The agent swabbed Jamal's hands for explosives, then finally let them pass. Did you see that family over there? Tara whispered to Marcus. A white family with the exact same nebulizer sailed through without a hitch. Marcus squeezed her hand, trying to stay calm. Today's about the award, not the hassle. At the gate, the smiles from airline staff barely hid surprise when they saw Jamal's family boarding first class. They'd learned those micro-expressions over years, the silent, you don't belong, in 1,000 ways. Heather Davis, the blonde flight attendant in her mid-40s, greeted passengers at the door. When Jamal's family approached, her smile faltered, disbelief in her eyes despite the boarding passes clearly showing seats 2A to 2D. You're in first class? She questioned, voice tight. Yes, Marcus replied evenly. Executive Platinum members. Heather scanned their passes like she didn't believe it. A white passenger behind them, Dr. Bradley Thompson, cleared his throat. Excuse me, you didn't check my first-class ticket when I boarded. Heather flushed, then stiffly motioned them forward. Enjoy your flight, Dr. Harris and family. Once seated, Jamal whispered, Dad, my chest feels tight. Stress was triggering his asthma again. Marcus pulled out the inhaler discreetly. Jamal took a puff, covering it with a yawn. Across the aisle, Dr. Thompson gave a knowing smile. Heather's behavior grew worse. She avoided eye contact, hovered suspiciously, nearly spilled juice on Tara's white blazer, then chatted warmly with Dr. Thompson like he was the only person on the plane. Lily, wide-eyed, asked loudly, Why is that lady being mean? Tara whispered, She's just busy, but Marcus knew the truth. Another flight attendant, James Wilson, a black man, noticed Heather's obvious bias. In the galley, he quietly confronted her. Why the extra watch on that family? Heather shrugged, just being cautious. You never know. James shot back. Would you watch so closely if they weren't black? Heather's voice dropped. It's safety protocols. Safety without respect is discrimination, James said firmly, walking away. 2 hours in, Jamal's breathing worsened. Dad, I need my inhaler again. Marcus grabbed for the backup in the bag, but it was gone. Where's the backup inhaler? Tara asked, alarmed. It was in the medical bag, Marcus said, voice tight. Heather arrived, forced smile fading when she saw who called. Marcus explained, my son needs his backup inhaler, but it's missing. Heather's tone turned dismissive. No one touched your bags. Marcus pressed, it's definitely gone. That small blue inhaler with his name on it. Dr. Thompson leaned in. Is everything okay? Jamal's wheezing grew louder. Tara wrapped her arm around him. Heather finally confessed. I removed an unmarked device from your son's tray. For safety, I disposed of it. Tara's voice cracked. You threw away my son's prescription medication? Marcus stood tall, voice rising but controlled. My son is having an asthma attack because you decided his life-saving medication looked suspicious. Would you have done the same if he were white? Phone's out. Passengers recording. James stepped in. Did you discard a passenger's medicine without consent? Heather stammered about protocols, but James fired back. No protocol lets you do that without consulting guardians. The cabin fell silent, except Jamal's ragged breathing. Marcus demanded the captain be informed. We need the emergency medical kit now. The captain's voice came over the intercom. Due to a disturbance, we're making an emergency landing in Cleveland. Heather tried to protest. It's under control. Under control? Tara spat, holding Jamal tight. My son is in medical emergency because of you. Dr. Thompson stood. This is not a disturbance, but a medical crisis caused by a flight attendant throwing away a child's medication. The plane descended. Marcus monitored Jamal's vitals, desperate but calm. The emergency kit lacked the right medicine. Dr. Thompson pulled out his own bronchodilator from carry-on, a small lifeline. Passengers watched, phones rolling, capturing a human rights violation live in real time. Emergency crews met them on the ground. Jamal was rushed inside with oxygen mask, monitors flashing low levels. Marcus gave a clinical report. Tara followed with him to the hospital. Police arrived. Witnesses shared videos. Heather's claims of feeling threatened were drowned by multiple recordings showing her admitting to discarding the inhaler. The airline's PR scrambled, offering apologies and compensation, but Marcus and Tara demanded accountability and systemic change, not hush money. Meanwhile, social media exploded. Justice for Jamal trended nationally as more stories surfaced of minorities facing similar discrimination in the skies. Months later, the airline fired Heather, revamped training, and promoted James to lead inclusion efforts. Jamal, now 13, stood at a youth summit, sharing his story. Breathing freely isn't just a medical right, it's a human right. And sometimes, it's an act of resistance. He unveiled his invention, a medical alert bracelet linking to doctors' info, helping prevent incidents like his. Behind the scenes, congressional hearings probed airline discrimination. Policies changed. Lawsuits pressed. Through it all, the Harris family became a beacon of courage, showing that standing up to injustice, even in the face of fear, can spark real change. So what about you? If you saw discrimination like this, would you speak up like Dr. Thompson and James? Or stay silent? Drop your thoughts below because change starts with one voice. Maybe yours. If this story moved you, hit like, subscribe for more hard-hitting truths. And remember, sometimes breathing freely means fighting for that right. Thanks for listening.